Alana Jaylo,
Rick Hammond.
you have had an interesting morning.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting.
Do you want to talk about what happened?
Today?
Yeah,
You mean for getting my order?
go ahead.
So I got everything in the order that I needed, and except for the spatula set, which unfortunately they didn't have a spatula set from Fred Meyer. And then I ordered some cutlery, but what I didn't know is that they substituted the cutlery that I ordered for plastic cutlery, and I think the other one may have been plastic cutlery, and it didn't specify it on the order, so that's what they got me. So I was a little bit annoyed, but I think I'm gonna have to get knives from Walmart.
Yeah, Instacart can be a little bit cumbersome, I've noticed.
Yeah, but you haven't used it. I personally don't have a problem with Instacart, but it was just this one little annoyance that I.
It seems like every time I'm over here and you order from Instacart, there's like a major problem.
It's not that big of a problem. It's just, Well, I mean, I would imagine that not your Walmart orders weren't always perfect either.
No, but it's usually nothing big like that, though.
Well, and the reason why I like Instacart so much is because not only is it easy to navigate from, but you can actually choose your substitutions. And if you don't want to substitute it, you can just say, don't replace it. That's what I love about Instacart. I usually don't have a problem with them.
How are you feeling now? Because I know that you were a little bit freaked out in the kitchen.
Oh, I'm okay. I mean, I'll have to just work with the knives that I have. Yes. I mean, I can always get more knives. I just thought it was a little bit annoying that I have, more plastic cutlery that I don't really use. I'll keep it if someone needs to use it, but I think plastic knives are so dull.
I would have to concur with you on that one, babe.
Yes.
Yes.
I would rather use a knife that can actually cut stuff. Speaking of cutting, I was trying to open my earphone thing. Those plastic things that earphones come in? Uh-huh. I hate those things. Because it's like they make them childproof.
Yeah, it's like adults buy these and we have to spend half hour opening them.
Mm-hmm. I'll get it open. I will. I'll find a way to do it.
Sony's pretty good about that.
Yeah.
You still have to do some work, but it's not as complicated to get their headphones open.
I mean, I love the Skull Candy headphones, but I don't like their packaging. I hate their packaging. I wish they would package them better. Why couldn't they just put them in like a regular case and wrap up the case?
I don't know, but I do remember that one time.
Mm-hmm.
This was right after I moved back to Portland, so 2012. Mm-hmm. I saw these headphones at the dollar store.
Really?
I thought to myself, this is the weirdest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
But I bought them. It was really easy to get them open, but they only lasted for maybe 2 weeks.
What?
Yeah.
That's probably why they were only cost $1.
That makes sense to me, babe.
Well, see, so remember when you told me about the razors that you got at the dollar store at one time?
I love the dollar store razors.
That is so weird.
Yeah, they work really well, I've noticed.
Were they disposable?
They are.
Because some disposable razors, you can easily cut yourself with them, and I know that because I have.
No, these ones are really good.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That is really interesting.
I still have like a big stockpile from before the Walking Dead started here in
Walking Dead.
Portland.
Yeah.
Alana.
Yes.
I re-listened to our last episode.
Uh-huh.
And I was a little bit rude to you, apparently.
I did not listen to that episode, but yes, you were.
I don't know what was up with me that day, babe.
I don't know either. I was trying to explain it, and you're like, you forgot this part. I'm like, well, I'm sorry, but I'm not a Trekkie. I'm not going to get everything.
I didn't remember that it specifically had to do with Star Trek.
It did.
According to you, it did.
It did. It was, I just was like, what is the matter? Because you never did it to me before. This is like the first time you ever did that to me. Mm. And I'm like, what is wrong with him? What's wrong with him?
I would love to believe that everything I say is correct and that I always act appropriately in the situation. But apparently that is not the case, babe.
No.
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 I'm not going to apologize.
I think you should.
For, all men or anything.
I think you should at least apologize for what you did.
Well, I don't think it was that bad, but I did want to acknowledge it.
Well, it was kind of bad. I mean, it wasn't the worst case scenario, but you were pretty rude.
I was a little bit snippy.
Yeah, you needed an attitude adjustment.
Let's not blow it out of control.
I mean, you weren't like as rude as more rude than the rudest person in the neighborhood, but you were a little bit. You did need an attitude adjustment, I would say.
Okay. Well, in that case, I'm sorry, and I just heard a siren outside your building, so
yeah.
Who knows what that's about?
Might be a fire, might be somebody that needs an ambulance, but that's
their problem.
That's their problem.
Yes.
What if somebody I know is hurt in the building?
Well, then that's your problem too, babe.
Oh my.
We'll deal with that then.
Oh my goodness.
We've both been thinking more about the film Vertigo since the last time we talked on this.
Oh yes, we have.
What conclusions have you come to? Because if I remember correctly, the last time we spoke, we were both of agreement that it was a weird film. We liked it, but we didn't want to see it again.
I think I have a greater appreciation for it because we were watching something on YouTube, right?
Yeah, that's right. We were watching the video that I believe the YouTube channel The Take did on Vertigo.
Well, what I liked about this video is not only did they do their analysis of it, but you also heard Alfred Hitchcock himself do an analysis on what the video was supposed to be.
They used audio from him, and I believe they also had a film historian come in and talk about it.
So I really felt like their analysis was pretty well researched. And I really thought that I have a greater appreciation for it now. Now I can probably see it and maybe get something different out of it, even though I saw it once.
They said something near the end of that video about how Jimmy Stewart's character was reliving this incident in his head, and how we as the viewer relive the movie, right?
Right.
And that is so true because I've been thinking about it a lot this week.
Well, and then playing with personalities, right? Not personalities, but playing with the reality and what is real and what isn't real.
I love the way Hitchcock does that.
It was really, and then, so this is something I didn't even think about, which I thought was kind of, was very morbid and actually kind of disturbing, but Alfred Hitchcock shot it brilliantly in this way, that he brought up the, shall I mention the topic of necrophilia?
Tell me.
Well...
You liked it in high school, so talk about it now. I'm joking, babe. Keep going.
Necrophilia, it's so disgusting. No, the idea of necrophilia and how he decided to play around with that idea. And it was just... I never thought of it that way, honestly.
I would love it if people who listen to this would be inspired to go and watch Vertigo.
It is one of those movies that will definitely stick with you for a long time, even weeks after you saw it. And we only saw it 2 weeks ago?
No, we saw it last
Oh, I'm sorry, we saw it last week. Sorry. We did see it last week. So...
But it's been a crazy week. It's felt like multiple weeks in one.
Yes, it has.
With was it the DNC that kind of felt like Fox News, pandemic?
Actually, the DNC was nothing like Fox News. It was just like I would describe the DNC as an infomercial, a big, gigantic infomercial.
With a lot of Republicans.
There wasn't a lot of Republicans. There was a lot of crazy leftists.
Oh, please.
Oh, please. We don't. I don't want to get into another rousing political debate because we already had one before this.
We kind of had one this morning, but I was getting into it, and then you just walked away when I was making the point.
No, I had to. I had to get the groceries.
No, but you didn't even get a text from the driver yet. You were just like, "What time is it? Okay, bye."
Well,
I was in the middle of saying
well,
something.
I didn't want to be late in case they actually got there because sometimes they don't. They try to call me and they can't figure it out, or what have
But
you.
your phone hadn't even rang yet.
I know, but I wanted to be. I wanted to make sure that I got.
This is where I feel I stand alone in the political thing.
Do we have to talk about this?
I'm going to make this point and then we're going to move on.
All right.
And get back to movie talk. Whenever I talk to somebody, whether it's a conservative person like you or a person who's farther to the left than myself, I always feel like I'm kind of dismissed in a way, right? So whether it's somebody that's like standing up and leaving the room like you did,
But no, but there was a reason why I did that. I wasn't trying to be rude.
no, but I was in the middle of the point, and your phone had not gone off at that point.
I understand that, but I really wanted to make sure that that person, because this has happened to me before where people have come to deliver things to me and they would be out there for a few minutes trying to figure out. This is before, this was actually before the call box was working for me. So keep that in mind as well. That there are times where people have stood at the call box and tried to figure out how to call me and they weren't able to, and then they end up calling me anyway. But anyway, besides that,
I'm telling you from my perspective what
Okay.
goes on.
Okay.
I'll either have what you have, or I'll have it to where I fight with a conservative relative, and they'll tell me that all that's going on is the devil is manipulating things. Or on the left, I'll have it to where I'll show somebody a fact, or not a fact, I'll show somebody an article or a video and about a politician that they like who is doing some shady stuff, and they'll just dismiss it by saying, well, that person could have grown by now, or it may be taken out of context. So I think that's why I feel like such an independent Jaylo.
Okay.
You know.
Well, I will comment on said conservative relative's comment because we don't need to talk about who it is.
Yeah.
And I need to say that. But I think that's probably the most ignorant thing I've ever, the most ignorant thing that anyone could ever say.
When I heard that, I immediately blocked this person on Facebook.
I think it's very ignorant to say that.
Yeah, because I thought to myself, well, if you don't want to have an argument, and you're posting crazy stuff, but you don't want to get into it with me, then
Well, what is that showing them?
you want to challenge my point, but when I challenge you, it's like the devil. Then we can't have a discussion.
I think that now being a conservative Christian, I will say this, okay, and this is a criticism of those who think like me. I will say this.
Go ahead.
Sometimes they use the devil as a crutch. They use it to blame things that are going on that are bad. They use that to automatically think that the reason why the person did it is because the devil made them do it. And actually, the devil can't make you do anything unless you actually let the devil influence you. You have the choice. You choose to do it. It's nobody else's fault but the person.
Nice.
And I think that by saying that all these bad things are happening, the reason why you think that way is because of the devil. I think it's the most ignorant thing that you could say as a Christian, and I think that only shows that the Christian is not spiritually mature.
Yes.
And that's how I see it. So to all you Christians that are listening to this, really watch out for that.
Get a life, people.
Get a life.
Yes. I don't think my relative is going to be hearing this, although this relative does live in Portland, so we'll see.
Well, I mean that is a criticism I would say to Christians of all Christians of all ages, that you can't say things like that unless you actually have unless you're actually going to say some things with spiritual maturity.
I should also say that this person, despite that, is kind of a loving person, actually a very loving person, despite the fact that they have some insane ideas about politics and religion. But my point wasn't to criticize a person. My point was to make a broader explanation about how I feel like a little bit of a political outsider in both the right and the left.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, babes.
Well, I'm sorry that I had to leave the room, but I really felt like I needed to get the stuff and
And I have a little bit more context now because I was under the impression that, yes, you had to give the stuff, but you hadn't received a phone call yet. Not knowing that it doesn't always go down that way with Instacart.
it doesn't always go down that way with anyone that's delivered to me. So I have to remember that even though my number can be called now on the call box, they don't always know how to use it.
I think this calls for a quick kiss.
So I saw we.
It's okay.
Okay.
You know, put your shirt back on, babe.
I am wearing a shirt. Thank you very much.
What ifs?
I am.
Good. Sure you are.
I am. Hey, you should know that. I'm right in front of you.
I'm trying. This is like radio of the mind, babe.
I don't want whoever is listening to this to think that I'm some kind of floozy that you've had a podcast with for a year now. Almost a year.
If it was, the show's name would have been Rick and the Floozy. Or Rick and the Naked Jaylo.
Oh my goodness.
Naked Jaylo and Hammond. Naked Jaylo and Closed Hammond. Anyways, babes.
Yes. Yes.
After watching Vertigo last Friday,
Mm-hmm.
we went further down the Hitchcock rabbit hole by viewing To Catch a Thief and North by Northwest last Saturday night.
Okay, so keep in mind, I was tired during both movies, so there may have been parts that I missed. But I will say that To Catch a Thief was really, really good.
I loved both
really,
the
really
movies.
fun. I loved them both, yeah.
I think To Catch a Thief is slightly better.
It's better.
But that doesn't take anything away from North by Northwest.
North by Northwest was a little bit confusing.
So let's talk about To Catch a Thief first.
Okay.
Because I actually rewatched it yesterday.
Yeah.
Do you want to give some of the backstory?
So basically, I'll just say that where are they out of?
France.
So they're in France, and there's been incidences of jewels being stolen, and the women who have had jewels stolen are automatically thinking that Cary Grant's character has stolen the jewels, which I thought was really hilarious.
The police are thinking that.
The police are thinking that, I'm sorry. But they're also thinking that he stole the jewels as well.
Because?
Wasn't there a scene where somebody was asking him about stealing?
So, yeah, basically, he used to be a jewel thief.
That's right.
During
I forgot
the
that part.
occupation of France.
Yes.
And he didn't do it to buy the lives of Jewish people or anything like that. He did it for himself. Mm-hmm. So now he's a super rich dude, but everybody knows where he got his money from. And his old friends back in the day are kind of like broke and struggling at this restaurant. So they look at him like he betrayed the cause. Keep going, beeps.
Well, I kind of forgot it. I mean, I only seen it once, but there's a lot of funny things that ensue. I remember that one scene where somebody was talking to him about stealing. It's like, how did I get into the business of stealing? I just thought that movie was just really, really funny. So there's a lot of
Would you like me to give a little bit
Go
more?
ahead, because you watched it. You watched it again.
After
I forgot some of it.
He approaches one of his buddies from the old days. Cary Grant's character, John Roby, gets a new identity as Burns. He is taken by Danielle to this hotel on the French Riviera and has some crazy times there where he meets Grace Kelly and her mom. Mm-hmm. Grace Kelly puts it together that this Burns character is actually John Roby, the famous thief. Mm-hmm. And she decides that she's still into him until some of her mother's stuff ends up missing.
Right.
Eventually, after Cary Grant is casing this house for a couple of nights, he decides to move in and call the police because he believes that the real jewel thief will come out. Guy comes out, gets killed, it goes into the papers. Cary Grant realizes that it can't be the same person who's responsible for these crimes. I don't want to give away everything in the movie.
Right.
And we eventually find out who it is. Him and Grace Kelly get together. Film ends. After rewatching this film yesterday, I think I like it even more.
It is a really great film. And you said it was beautifully shot, right?
It's great. One of the scenes that I love is there's a scene where the police are chasing them.
Yeah.
But they're in an unmarked car. And Grace Kelly is kind of like speeding down this like really windy road.
Right.
It doesn't sound that good in today's standards, but if you remember it as a reflection of the time it was shot, which is in the mid-50s, it's really, really incredible. And looks kind of dangerous because they avoid like a bus, a couple cars,
that's right. That's right.
an old lady, a couple birds.
That's right. Yeah, she's trying to get away from the cops. Correct?
Yes.
Wow. Well, what about that one scene where you saw that party and there's all these women that were wearing these really beautiful dresses?
That's great. That's the one where he comes in disguise.
Okay. And he told me that it just looks really nice.
Beautiful film.
Yeah.
I love the way this film looks.
Yeah.
I've noticed that about Hitchcock. His films all look really unique.
Wow. Well, what about Rear Window? Did you say that the scenery was really good there?
It wasn't as beautiful as some of his other films, but it looks just as good, if that makes any sense.
I have no idea. I have never seen those things.
I would say that the scenery in Rear Window makes sense for the story that it is telling.
Very good.
So overall, you would recommend this film?
Oh, yes.
Are there any other takeaways you want to give?
I'll just say this after seeing it just once, that I never thought that the person, I never thought that, because I eventually find the jewel thief, but I never thought it was going to be that person.
Do you want me to say who it is or no?
No.
Okay.
No, I want people to watch it.
Good.
You wouldn't even think about that. You wouldn't even think that it was this person, I'll just say.
Now, we move on to North
By Northwest. Yes.
Tell me your thoughts, Jaylo. Give a description.
I was a little bit confused, to be honest. And again, there were parts where I was really, really tired and I did fall asleep. Actually, I think I fell asleep in both movies. So I'll try my best. So let me see. So I understand that that Cary Grant. What is his name in North by Northwest? What did he play?
I don't remember the character's name.
I don't remember either. But but wasn't there a point where he was being watched by this woman? They were watching him. He was taken into this. He was kidnapped and taken into a cell.
Do you want me to refresh your memory?
Yes,
with
because
a quick synopsis?
it's been a long time.
Okay, so as the film starts, Cary Grant is this fairly successful businessman. He goes out to dinner with some friends. They meet at a hotel bar in New York City. He goes to use the payphone, and a couple guys approach him and kidnap him. Take him to this house, and he is basically forced to drink alcohol, put into a car, and the vehicle is supposed to go off the road. At the last minute, Cary Grant wakes up, takes control of it, saves himself, but is arrested.
Right.
Okay. Next morning, he calls his mom to bail him out of prison. They go back to the house where Cary Grant was taken after his kidnapping. Because obviously he's going to squill on these people. They can't really find any evidence of what's going on. Okay, Cary Grant goes back into the city. Excuse me. And I might be getting some of this wrong because I also saw it last week and did not rewatch it.
Right.
While he's back there, he decides to go to some embassy, and I'm skipping on the name of it because I just can't remember. He finds the man who owns the house. While he's talking to this guy, the man is stabbed in the back. Grant instinctively grabs the knife out of him.
Right.
Which makes the lookers by think that he is guilty.
Right, uh-huh.
He runs away, gets on this train, meets Eva Marie Saint. Oh, hold on. Do we have to...
No.
Okay.
I'll get it later, don't worry.
Your phone just went off.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
Keep talking.
Eva Marie Saint helps to hide Cary Grant on the train. They get off the train in Chicago. He goes to meet the man who he's mistaken for. Mm-hmm. Doesn't meet him, but this plane almost kills him.
Yeah.
Some stuff happens. They get the identity thing cleared up. But now Eva Marie Saint is in danger.
Right.
He goes to help her, gets her free, and they end up together at the end.
Aha, yes.
Yes.
Should we talk about the scene before it ends? Or
Tell
no?
me.
The mountain scene, remember?
Go ahead, talk.
Well, they were trying to get up this mountain. And they had to... Wait, yeah, is that right? They were trying to
go down the mountain.
They're trying to get down the mountain.
The memorial with the 4 presidents.
Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore.
They're trying to get down Mount Rushmore. It's a big mountain, and they kept slipping, and she kept slipping and sliding. And he said, okay, if we make it out here alive, then... What did he say? If we make it out here alive, I want us...
To take the train back.
Take a train back, yeah.
Not a plane.
Right. But I don't think I should give away the ending.
I love it. The film is like, pause this, go and watch the film. We're giving you 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. And we're back. I love how she slips, he's grabbing her, and she's like, I don't think I can hold on. And then fast forward to them laughing on the train, and that's where it ends.
Right.
I thought that was so cool.
It was, because it clearly they survived it. But I think you should watch the movie to get a better idea of it.
Is there anything else you want to say about the film?
It was, like I said, it was a little bit confusing at times because I wasn't sure if the lady was really into him or if he... And at the time, she was watching him. She was a part of a group that was...
She's a spy, basically.
A spy, yes. You know what I meant. She's a spy.
It.
Yeah, and I didn't know what to think of her. But it was a very good movie. Very action-packed.
I've noticed that Hitchcock likes to play with heights a lot.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about that statement, babe?
I think you're right about that. I wonder if he wants to evoke some kind of fear in people, right? Because sometimes his movies are kind of scary, right?
I'd say a lot of them are.
Yeah. So I think he takes what people are afraid of, whether it's heights, whether it's birds, whether it's knives, sharp objects.
But heights is a big thing in his films. Because I
did not know that.
Consistent, I've noticed. So
okay.
In Rear Window, there's a lot of stuff to do with heights because there's a point where Jimmy Stewart is hanging outside of his window for a few seconds.
Right.
In Vertigo, it's a big part of the film because the lady falls to her death at the end.
Yes. Yes.
In To Catch a Thief, there's a couple scenes where people are running on this rooftop.
Right.
Okay. There's that one great scene in North by Northwest after Cary Grant's character gets cleared and he goes to rescue Eva Marie Saint and he's climbing up these windows to the house and looking in and seeing what's going on inside.
Right.
Do you think that this represents a fear that Hitchcock wants us to have as an audience, or is this a fear that he has of heights?
It might be both. I couldn't tell you. It might be both. He may be afraid of heights, and so he wants to evoke that. He wants to convey that he's afraid of heights, or maybe he wants to scare people by evoking that fear of heights.
Interesting, Jaylo.
Yeah, because he knows that some people are really definitely afraid of heights.
Yes.
Yeah.
We also watched an episode of Deep Space Nine.
Yes.
Where Odo and Quark go on a little bit of an adventure, Jaylo.
Oh, they were annoying each other so much.
Tell me.
So, Odo was accompanying Quark. Where were they going to? They're going to...
They were going to a planet because Quark had to testify in this trial to do with the Orion Syndicate.
Yeah, because Odo thought that he was a part of it, and he never supported them.
Well, Quark's life was threatened by the Syndicate.
Yes.
But Odo doesn't know this.
Right, he didn't understand that. And they were stuck on a shuttlecraft together. Quark wanted to play Fizbin with him.
Which is a great callback to the original series, specifically the episode A Piece of the Axon. But keep going, babe.
And, and Odo's just really annoyed, and he wants to be left alone, and they're just, trying to talk. And then something goes wrong with the shuttlecraft.
They find a bomb.
They find a bomb on the shuttlecraft, and they have to get out of the shuttlecraft to get help. And they have to climb to the top of a mountain in order for them to use their transmitters, because their transmitters were broken. They weren't. There was no signals coming out of their transmitters. Am I right?
You're basically correct.
Yes. Okay. And so they get out of the shuttlecraft. They have to carry that huge transmitter, which it sounds like it's like this huge box. And they're walking up the mountain. Odo breaks his leg. Quark thinks he's going to freeze to death. They're at each other's throats. They're trying to crawl up the mountain and everything. And yeah, and they were in pretty deep trouble. It was bad.
I enjoy this episode.
I did
immensely.
Too. I did.
I think the second half is even better than the first.
Oh, where they're going up the mountain?
Yes.
Why is that?
I love seeing them struggle together.
Yeah.
In some ways, I know why they didn't do it, but it would have been nice if this was a two-parter.
Mm-hmm. I think so, too.
It was a great episode, babe.
But I think it's interesting how, Quark and Odo are not the best of friends, even though Quark likes Odo, but Odo doesn't like Quark. Am I right?
That's my opinion of it.
Okay. And so to see them in action together, interacting together, it's kind of fun to see that.
It's great.
Yeah.
Especially because this is when Odo no longer has the ability to shapeshift.
Yep.
So you see a little bit of that struggle, because at one point he's like, I always get the names wrong with Star Trek, but he says something to the effect of, I could have turned into an Albarian eagle or something like that and flown us both up there.
Yeah, right, exactly, yep. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was great.
Yeah. Yeah, they have some weird names for stuff like, like yemic sauce and...
It's hard to get all of them correct, because there's just so many in the universe of Star Trek.
Ractigino. Which I guess is coffee.
I think that's a Klingon coffee.
Ractigino. Well, they don't have any... It's surprisingly that they don't have any worms in their coffee.
I know, really.
Wait a minute. No, wait. I'm sorry. The Ferengis eat worms. Not the Klingons.
Well, but maybe there is... But Klingons do eat live food, though.
They do?
Yeah. So occasionally Dax will go to the Klingon restaurant that's on the station, and they'll make reference to her eating something that was alive.
Did you ever see what yemic sauce was?
I don't believe you do.
Yeah, it's really funny how they have weird names for planets and like, oh, I had this food when I was on the planet, blah, blah, blah. Or when I was on Starbase.
397, 8.5, minus 6.
3.4.
Yes.
3.14, which is pi, I believe.
I remember when we were watching Lessons, the great TNG episode.
Yes.
And I think Picard says, "Well, you could resign your commission, or you could go and work at a starbase." And he started laughing because he didn't know what a starbase was.
I did, just the way that she said it.
Yeah.
Or we could just live on a starbase. Yeah.
Or they measure things by star dates, which is always very confusing.
Yes,
it's just like made up numbers.
It's like captain's log, star date, blah 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 blah. You know. It is so funny. It is really funny. Yeah. Yeah, the Star Trek universe is very different.
Yes.
Well, can you imagine replicators?
It's great, but from what I understand, they take a lot of power.
That's what I hear.
to work.
Yes.
Yes, but just put your dish in the replicator, like they had the daughter do on
Yeah, because it would
Miles's daughter do on the Hard Time episode.
Because that would disintegrate the dish, right?
I believe that is correct.
Yes, but then the replicator also makes food.
Yes,
which is really funny.
it's great.
It's not like, well, don't forget to put your dish in the dishwasher. It's don't forget to put your dish in the replicator.
Yes.
That's really funny.
It's great, babe.
Yes, it is.
Have you been experiencing any more art this last week? I have 2 films that I want to talk about with you.
Not in films, no. I've just been listening to podcasts and programs and on the radio and stuff. Not a lot of artsy-fartsy stuff that I should be.
Anything that stands out?
Yeah, I think I told you yesterday, right? There was a show I was listening to, and this woman is no longer alive, but she made a point when she was alive to visit elderly people in nursing homes, because she felt like a lot of them are really lonely and they only get visitors like maybe once a year, or not even, not a lot of times during the year. Sometimes their families don't even visit them. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Thinking about like which lives are valued and which are not, which are devalued or becoming more devalued.
Did listening to that program make you want to become more active in your own community? And if so, what do you think that activity looks like a year from now?
I really don't know that it motivated me to become more active in the community as far as interacting with people, like elderly people per se. But I was thinking about how I interact with somebody that I may not get along with. You know what I mean?
Keep going.
Interacting with someone that I may not get along with, or I don't understand, or trying to understand someone that I really don't connect with. It's not easy at all. It really isn't. I would just as well avoid them. But I don't know. I've just been thinking about that lately, I guess. It hasn't been just because of this program I listened to yesterday, but it's just I've been thinking about that. How could I be a little more gracious to people that I would rather not be around? I don't know. What do you think?
I'll ask you a question
Oh.
that I think I may have brought up to you the other day when we spoke about this originally. Is it necessarily a bad thing to avoid people that you don't jive with?
Well, I realized as I've gotten older that there are people that I just don't like, right? Because you don't have to like everybody.
No.
But I think what I've tried to do, and even though I don't feel like it at times, is to just, be nice to the people that I don't like. Because you just never know. The way that I see it is that you just never know what kind of a life that they had before they met you. Whether they were having a crummy day or a crummy year, or their months were just horrible, or they just don't know they just don't have the social graces to interact with people, and so that's why they're that way. Or maybe it could be a cognitive thing, but I don't know. I've just tried my best to be, nice to them, to be civil. I guess the word would be civil. And I've just tried my best to do that, even if I didn't feel like it.
So if I understand you correctly, you're not going to try to create opportunities to be around people who you don't get along with. But you are going to make a little bit extra effort. Not that you didn't before, but you're going to go a little bit further going forward to be nice to people that you don't necessarily get along with.
Right. Even if I don't have any opportunities to go to places that I normally wouldn't go, or I normally haven't been to. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good.
Because you're not going to make new opportunities, but you're going to be kinder in the opportunities that you
if the
end up
opportunity,
having.
yes, if the opportunity arises.
Which right now it doesn't look like it because things are still pretty much shut down here.
Right.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it won't happen in the future either.
No, I'm hoping that society will reopen.
I'm sure it will. It can't be like this forever.
No.
It just can't. It's, people have to go about their businesses. People have to go about their business.
Is there anything else you wanted to say about art this week?
No, but that was just something that came to mind.
Nice. Mine is more superficial. Mm-hmm. But let's get into it.
Okay.
Since high school, I've been hearing about the Charlton Heston film, Soylent Green.
Oh, yes.
It's a classic. You got to see it. It says...
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you fought it.
That was the stopper of the door.
Okay.
Door stopper. Excuse me.
So, finally, last Sunday night, after getting home from spending a weekend with Elainer, I sat down...
Who's Elainer? Okay, anyway, go on.
I watched Soylent Green. It started off very interesting because they're showing all these images of society falling apart. And one of the things they chose to show was a picture of this lady wearing a face mask, like we do today. So immediately I'm hooked into the film. Unfortunately, the movie did not live up to the hype. I felt that it was way too preachy.
Way too preachy.
Yes. Every other thing was about food. And listen, I know that the point of the movie is Soylent Green, but you could deal with the collapse of society by talking about other things, like, well, what's going on in the media? How is government handling things? What's going on overseas? But most of the focus was on food.
Really?
Yes.
Like making sure that they bought the product?
We're talking about it. So
Okay.
One thing I actually liked in the film, there's an old guy who's a friend of Charlton Heston who preaches about what food used to be like back in the day. You would have real food. Mm-hmm. And Heston is pleasantly annoyed with the guy at the beginning of the movie.
Right.
Right? Like, he still likes the guy, but he's like, oh, let me guess, this is another story about food.
Right.
But everybody talks about it. Mm-hmm. That leads to some interesting things, but mostly it just gets repetitive. Mm-hmm. One of the few things I like, though. Mm-hmm. A rich guy dies who is an executive at the corporation that produces Soylent Green.
Okay.
Heston goes into his house, takes a lot of this guy's food, brings it back to his old friend, who makes Charlton Heston a real meal.
Right. Okay.
I thought that was a really cool scene.
Really? So
yes.
he makes him a real meal with real food.
With vegetables and fruit.
Vegetables and fruit, yeah. Okay.
I really like that. But that was the best scene in the movie. Everything else is too preachy. And they try too hard for symbolism. You know, the film is called Soylent Green. And every apartment is green in this movie. The clothes they wear, most
really
of the clothes
were
look green. They weren't like fully green, but they kind of look green.
Oh, wow.
There's green everywhere in this film. It's like, you guys don't have to hit us over the head with this message.
Right.
There's more power. Sometimes there's more in doing less.
Okay.
You know.
But you're saying that the Soylent Green itself actually looks like seaweed, right? That you put on top of your food.
As a blind person.
Okay.
That's how it appeared to me.
Okay, because I was under the impression that it was like some kind of weird goo.
Listen, a sighted person might look at it differently, and they would be correct.
Yeah.
But to me, I thought it was more of like a spinach type thing.
Okay. Huh.
So I want to recommend this film because I've heard for so many years that it is a classic. And it has one great scene in it, which I told you about. Mm-hmm. And it also has a picture of a lady wearing a mask, which could be taken out of today's culture.
Right.
But I don't think I can. I don't think it's good enough.
Wow.
I'd give it maybe a 4 out of 10 star.
Oh, wow.
4 out of 10.
That's pretty low.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no desire to see it just because I don't I've heard about what Soylent Green really is, and I don't have to say, but I just didn't, I didn't feel the need to see it, so I don't think I'm going to watch it.
If it didn't have that scene where they eat a real dinner,
yeah,
and the mask, it would probably be a 2 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
It's just not that good.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay.
Maybe a 3. Actually, a 3.
Okay.
But I can't recommend it.
Okay.
Another movie I watched this week for the first time was the 1932 film Freaks.
Oh, that's right. You told me about that.
Very short film. It's only about an hour and 2 minutes.
Wow, that is short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically about these circus performers who have all sorts of abnormalities. And one performer falls in love with this beautiful German lady.
Mm-hmm.
She discovers that he's rich. He inherited a lot of money from his relatives. So she marries him. The lady has a boyfriend on the side.
Mm-hmm.
On their wedding night, during the celebration, the boyfriend makes no attempt to hide the fact that he's with this lady. So they start making out at the dinner table in front of
her new husband.
Or her new husband and his friends.
Wow.
The friends start chanting, one of us, to let her know that she's accepted into the circle.
Even though she's clearly making out with somebody else.
Yes, and that she's normal.
Okay.
And she gets up and lays into these people. Don't you dare tell me that. I'm not one of you. I'm different.
Wow.
She ends up poisoning her husband.
Wow.
She doesn't kill him, but his new wife does plan to finish the job.
Who's new wife?
The guy's new wife that we're talking about.
The little guy's new wife.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So she poisons him and divorces him, correct?
No, she poisons him. She gives him poison. I don't know why I'm having trouble with that word right now.
Yeah.
And she wants to kill him because now she's married to him. And if he dies, guess who gets all the money?
She does.
Yes.
Right?
So that's why she poisons.
Oh, I see. That same wife doesn't kill
I was
him.
using different verbiage, so I'm not just repeating the same language over and over again.
All right. Okay.
Because I've noticed that that's one of the things I'll do, is I'm too committed to the words that are common to me.
Yeah.
Okay. The guy is sick. He realizes what's going on. Before she can kill him, he sets up a revenge thing against her. What's great at the end of the movie, this lady has her legs cut off, and her throat box, I believe, is removed because she's
voice box.
Her voice box, because she's just going.
Oh no!
It was a really bizarre movie. I'm glad I watched it, but the thing I kept thinking about, babe, this film was released in 1932. Probably nobody involved with the making of this movie is still alive today.
Probably not.
So you're seeing an interesting reflection of history.
Wow.
Do you ever think about that when you're watching older films?
I never thought about it until you brought it up. Because, like, for example, The Wizard of Oz came out in 1939. And that's, of course, when Judy Garland was very young, right?
Yes.
And she obviously is no longer here. But I don't know. I don't really think about it that much, I guess. I mean, the people who played the Munchkins most of them are probably gone now.
If not all.
If not all of them, yeah. And they were little people.
I always think about that when I watch older films.
I try not to think about it. Because it kind of is like, wow, what would they have been like if they were still around?
I think of it sometimes like that, but usually more in the context of when was this person born and how did that affect their life experiences going into the making of this particular project. You know. When I was watching that movie, how did the people who played the freaks feel about this? Did they feel that this was a good depiction of people with abnormalities? Was it a highlight of their life? Did they regret doing the film? Did they think that they were going to go on to movie stardom afterwards?
Yeah, right. Or did they think it was just like a parody of what, or a satire of what circus people are really like?
I don't know.
Was there any funny things in the movie?
There were funny things. I thought the end was funny when she has her legs cut off and she can't speak.
Who cuts off her legs?
You don't see it.
Oh.
Basically, the film starts with this guy opening this box and saying, "Look at this person," and then he tells a story, and then you see her. She doesn't have legs and she can't talk.
Oh, you mean like the sawing in half of the woman? Kind of like that?
I don't know if it's quite like that, but
Okay.
it was good though.
Okay.
Yes.
I see.
Yes, babes.
Wow.
So that is an interesting week of film watching, babes.
Yeah.
We should talk about what we did for dinner last Saturday.
Yes. And what did we do on Saturday? Let's see.
The curry thing.
Oh, yes.
Our experiences with that.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I did not know this because it was the first time I was buying lentils. But I didn't realize I bought green lentils.
And who said to buy red lentils?
No, the reason why I didn't know you said to buy red lentils, but the reason why I didn't know that they were green lentils is because they were not described as green lentils. They just said lentils. It just said lentils on the list of lentils that I found. So that was not my fault.
Okay.
That was not my fault. That was the first time I was buying lentils.
When I make Indian food, I love using red lentils for a couple of different reasons. One, they taste really good. But two, because the cooking technique is very similar to rice, you can use one pot and cook them both at the same time.
Right.
So Alana's on the stovetop working with the vegetables and the curry sauce. And I'm just like, pouring in the lentils, not even really looking at them because I said, okay, get red lentils and get the rice. So I pour in the lentils, get the rice in, heat's on. And then we kept tasting them and they weren't right. And finally we gave up and we started eating them. And I think to myself, I've done this maybe 100 times before. And I've never had it to where the lentils don't mix well with the rice.
They tasted very liquidy.
Yeah. So
And I made the comment that, maybe it's something that has to do with the lentils.
So then I look and I see green lentils. I believe it was green.
It was green.
I was like a little bit taken aback there. But it did make me feel better about my cooking abilities.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was the first time. I mean, you had to cut me a little slack. That was the first time I bought lentils. And it was not described that they were green lentils.
Okay.
That's not what I found. I was trying to find red lentils and I couldn't find them.
In Walmart, on their app at least for iOS,
yeah,
there is a description for red lentils.
Okay, well, when I was on their website, I couldn't find it. That's what I mean.
Okay. However,
but I'll look more. I will do a thorough search the next time I look for red lentils.
What I was about to say,
yes,
is I left early Sunday because we had a heat wave.
Yes, and
you told me that you ate the curry, rice, and green lentils mixture.
Yeah, and
it turned out really good the next day.
It did, and I actually did not heat it over the stovetop. I heated it. I heat the food in the microwave, and it actually was starting to really blend in with the rice, which I thought was kind of strange, but that's what it did. And I wonder if it's because the heat was turned up, right? Because we were trying to
on the stovetop.
Yes.
Yes.
So maybe it's because the lentils were so hot.
Well, they have I think green lentils have a different cooking time than red ones do.
Right, okay.
I really have mostly worked with red lentils.
Okay.
To be honest.
Okay. Well, the next time I look for red lentils, I will make sure I do a thorough search so I can actually find red lentils.
And in fairness, the next time I just start pouring lentils into a cup,
you might want to look at them.
I maybe want to give a peek at what they are.
Right.
Instead of just assuming, I told her to buy red lentils, so they're probably red. So...
Oh, goodness.
Oh, goodness, babes.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about something that you and I have discussed in our personal life.
Oh, what is it?
Okay.
No.
Maybe a month and a half ago,
yeah,
I was over here. It was late at night. And we started talking about the idea of, wouldn't it be cool if we started a co-op?
Right. Oh, yes, yes, yes. And I then replied, you know what? I always thought it would be really cool to live in a building where there were friends on either floor, right? One friend, maybe two friends on one floor, two friends on another floor. You could visit them, and I just thought it would be really cool because it would be so close by.
I had a small taste of that experience when I lived in Colorado.
And you also visited co-ops in other places, correct?
I did.
Yeah.
But I think that's a little bit different because I don't believe that the people living at any of those co-ops knew each other prior to moving in. And I guess you could say the same thing about when I moved to Colorado. We kind of became friends through that experience as opposed to going into that situation as close friends. Is that still something you want to pursue? And the reason I asked that question is because I know it's a little bit apples and oranges.
Yeah.
But I had an interesting conversation with a friend this week who is telling me how somebody in my financial position could go about buying a house. I get all excited about the idea and I share it with you. And there was a little bit of trepidation when I explained to you this might be good if we wanted to do a co-op thing.
Well, that would be. I think it would be interesting to pursue, but I also think you have to think about if you do buy a house. And I know you've probably thought about this too. The upkeep, paying for the upkeep and paying for people to take care of your lawn if you need that, and repairs, and what if some pests invade your place? I don't know. It's something to think about, but I think it would be interesting. I think it would be interesting to see what happens with this.
So, what I believe I'm hearing from you, and correct me if I'm wrong, is we still want to explore the idea of doing an apartment co-op in a few years. But we're not completely closed on the idea of doing it in a house situation. However, if we were to pursue that route, we need to have a few more discussions about it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure after the conversation we had.
But an apartment co-op would be really fun.
That would be ideal.
Yes, it would.
Yes.
Because people would have their own spaces. You don't have to worry about being really crowded. And if somebody wanted to have a dinner, they can go to their apartment and then leave for the night.
You could also do maybe a group dinner once or twice a week.
Oh, that would be great.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Yes. Yes.
And people could take turns on, if there were couples in the co-op or something, they could take turns on cooking the food, or I don't know. It would be really cool.
It's also fun to cook dinner as a big group, though.
It is, because you're not stuck with everything.
Right.
Well, I do. That kind of reminds me of something. Well, I wasn't living in a co-op, but I remember when I was. What are you laughing at me?
No, go ahead.
Okay, I remember when I was in college. In my building, we had two people that we called peer advisors. They were basically like resident assistants that were living in the building, and if we needed any help with anything, like or they would organize dinners or breakfasts and things. Well, I remember that they would organize activities, and sometimes we'd have we would watch something funny, or we would go over there and they would have a breakfast on a Saturday, like a certain Saturday of the month, and people would be invited in the building or outside the building to come for breakfast, and that was a lot of fun. I mean, they always were thinking about activities to get students involved in.
I would love to do something like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I remember when I lived in Colorado, me and my group of friends were the ones who would really go out at night and plan dinners and that type of thing.
Yeah, it sounds great. I love that, and it's a really good way to socialize and meet people that you have either heard of, or people that one of us knows. I don't know. That'd be a lot of fun.
We will continue exploring the idea then.
Yeah.
Yes, big boys.
Yeah.
Alana, Jaylo.
Yes.
Any interesting dreams?
I did not have any dreams. I think I had one last night, but I can't remember it. I guess it might not have been important.
Oh.
Yes.
I hope you weren't too turned off this morning when I came over and I pretty much went straight to the shower.
No, it's okay. Sometimes you gotta clean up. You gotta clean up and feel better.
We should explain what happened is I woke up at 6:36, which is about 45 minutes later than I wanted to. So I rushed out my door. I already feel a little bit dirty because I didn't have the time to take the shower. As I'm walking to the light rail station, it starts raining.
Yeah.
So by the time I got here, I was kind of soaked. And
I asked you that if you took a jacket with you, and you said no.
It is August, babe.
Yeah, but it does rain in the summer.
I know, babe.
The summers are not without rain. Yes. I mean, there were times where I was on vacation in August or July, and it was like raining so hard on a Sunday night. So, and it's cold rain.
Who knows? We may even watch an episode of Deep Space Nine today that has rain in it.
Oh, really?
Ooh, that's something to think about, Jaylo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Who knows?
Who knows?
We might. We do have some really fun movies lined up tonight, don't we?
Talk about it.
So, Rick has never seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and it's a classic. I love that movie. Not just because it makes me think of chocolate by the end of it, but Gene Wilder plays an excellent Willy Wonka. And, unlike... So Johnny Depp did a version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the book, which actually follows the book more. But I didn't like his Willy Wonka. I liked Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka. I thought he was kooky and weird and just very interesting. And we're going to watch that, and we're also going to watch Young Frankenstein, which I've never seen.
Alana has never watched Young Frankenstein. I know everybody says that Mel Brooks's best film was Blazing Saddles. To be honest, I don't really like it that much.
You saw it?
I've seen Blazing Saddles a few times.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Because everybody keeps telling me how great it is.
Mm.
I don't get it.
Wow.
I don't get Blazing Saddles.
Okay.
But I think Young Frankenstein is an awesome movie. I can't wait to show her that. I'm excited to watch Willy Wonka. Mm-hmm. A slight correction. Back in the 90s, I saw a few scenes of it on TV. But for the most part, I'm going in with a blank slate because the film does differ from the book. And as a kid, I did enjoy the story.
That's right, you did. That's right. I forgot that you did tell me you saw parts of it, but you didn't see the whole thing.
Not a lot, maybe 10 minutes in total.
Oh, no, you gotta see, you have to watch the whole thing.
Yes.
See.
Oh, yes, babe. And what are we going to be making right after this?
We are going to make some chocolate banana cupcakes with cranberries.
Sourdough
Cupcakes. To be exact.
We don't even know if this is going to work. We're going off of my old banana bread recipe for sourdough banana bread.
Because a banana...
Ooh, Jaylo.
It's a stopper.
Sure it is.
It is. The banana...
It really stinks in here, Alyssa. All right, keep going.
Speak for yourself, Bubs.
Oh, whatever.
Anyway, I'm just kidding. So it's going to be interesting. The chocolate banana bread that you did make with the cranberries was a big hit, in my opinion. And I think we could do something with this.
Yes. Since you got me that cupcake tin for our anniversary a couple weeks ago,
yes,
we might as well test it out.
That's right.
Yes.
Got everything for that, and
I'm excited.
And we're gonna make something else for Din Din.
Yes, babes.
So we're gonna be doing some cooking and baking today.
We are, babes.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to say?
No. I don't think so.
All right, babe.
All right.
Oh, I know what we got to do.
What?
We could either end this with making love,
or
we could kiss for a minute. People like that. Oh, Jaylo.
Okay. Stop it.
Alana thinks that I share too much in certain areas, so.
Well, I also think it's kind of funny that you refer to me as Jaylo on occasion.
That is your name, though.
That's my last name.
Your last name is Jaylo.
Yes, it is.
So I'm calling you by your name. It is true. Like, I think I probably call you by your last name a lot more than I refer to you as Alana.
That's right.
Yeah. Even on the phone, when I call you, I'm like, what's going on, Jaylo?
Or Jaylo?
Jaylo?
Well, he also refers to me as his Jaylo, which I think is kind of cute.
You are my Jaylo.
I think it's funny.
Yes.
Did your friends ever make comments about that? Oh, why do you refer to your girlfriend as by her last name?
I don't do it all the time, but once in a while when I'm writing a text to a friend, I might, well, this was before the pandemic, I might accidentally, instead of saying Alana, I might write Jaylo instead. Yes.
That's really funny.
Yes, baby boys. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
No, not really.
All right.
I think I got what I had to get out for the day.
Thank you. And thank you for accepting my apology for last time.
Oh, of course.
Even though I was going through a situation that you've asked me not to discuss here.
We can, well, if you feel comfortable talking about it next time, we can.
All right, maybe tomorrow. That could be, it's possible we'll bring it up.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, Jewel.
Okay.
Do you want to kiss one more time?
One more.
Not forever, but for now. Jewel. Oh, Jewel.
Okay, stop.
All right. All right, for real. Let's get out of here.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday, unless you hear this on a different day of the week or you're having a really bad Friday.
Yeah. Until next time.
Get better. Until next time.
Yes.
Yes. All right.